So it's
But
actually
it's pretty much
amazing.
a vibrator.
And it is multi-use. I did discover this.
She said I did discover that. Right.
Yeah, and each family, right? And, because I have heard more often than not that kids are actually the most adaptable to... All right.
Here we are. Welcome
Here
to
we are.
episode 6 of the Glued Together podcast. We are revved up.
Yes, I have my mic in the front for the first time, so I'm
Yes.
going to try this out. I found like it was harder to look at you all, and hopefully this is going to be easier, and I can look at
Me too.
you too.
Yes, I love it. Everyone keeps telling me that the mic volume is fine, and I just need to relax.
Yes, Aydian needs to relax.
But that's post edits. That's after
Yes.
I've edited
No,
it.
He's put a lot of
Edited
work
it.
in.
So
You have.
yes.
And I
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you. I'm trying to get up some energy because we put Antler down before every podcast. And I used to lay in the bed with him, but now I don't. I just sit on the chair. But, he does like his back rubbed or his hair twirled. So, and I enjoy doing it. So I always do that. But then I'm always like, oh my gosh. I come out of that room and it's all like, it's dark in there. It's bright in here. I'm like, I'm ready for bed. I'm not ready to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I'm getting my energy back here.
Yes. Welcome back, baby.
Getting my energy back. So, but, yeah, thanks everyone for sticking around.
Yeah.
Tuning in. Shout out to Diane from New York.
Yes.
Love us a good Diane.
Yeah. Reminding us to keep going.
Yeah. It's been really cool to, because some people haven't really seen me since I was making videos on YouTube or seen us. So it's kind of cool to have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just that reminder, I feel really grateful. I feel like we've had a good amount of support from the community, like just people giving us the right messages at the right times when we've really needed them. So
yes, props. Props to all you.
Yes.
So this weekend we were fancy. We were fancy this weekend. We went to the Hamptons.
We did. We went to Southampton for a kids festival, like the Funtastic, I think it was called.
Something like that.
And
had a bouncy house and bubbles and like this Polar Seltzer company was there giving away free yummy. They were actually legit really good seltzers. These little like boxes that play songs and stuff and ping pong and
the Tony's brand. The kids brand of the speakers, the box speakers
very
that
cool.
like play all kinds of stuff. It was really cool to learn about. They put on the event, so that was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then it was like downtown Southampton, which is the old Hamptons. It's the original Hamptons. West Hampton is new money. Southampton is old money. So we were just, like the funnest part about the Hamptons is that you just don't know who's like, just looking at someone, you just don't know who's like really filthy rich and who's just like literally like us, like just there for the day, because you just can't tell. Because like you'll see someone all decked out and they're eating at a fancy restaurant, you know what I mean, and then you find out that they're just like literally there for the day. And then it's like the old man with like a baseball cap and like khaki shorts on that's actually like, you know what I mean, like loaded. So it's always kind of like fun to go. And it's like a nice town. We should go to West Hampton next time, though. It's a little more modern, I would say.
Yeah, I want to hit the wineries next time. We didn't actually do that
we
this
didn't actually
trip.
go. We got invited to a winery, but someone is going to be in Cabo, so won't be able to go.
I haven't actually said that out loud anywhere, really, to anyone. My really old friend, Ilana, invited me on an all-expense-paid trip to Cabo with her. And
we'll still get in a podcast though, because you'll be leaving on Tuesday,
right? So we can still record if all goes well.
So we'll record on Monday.
And yeah, I initially was like, I can't go. I have a child. And she had reached out to Aydian, and Aydian was like, "You're going."
You're 100% going.
a lot came up for me around the potential to go. I haven't been away from Antler and Aydian for that long.
Ever.
And
You haven't been away from Antler this long ever.
And yeah, I've never like traveled like that by myself either.
It's gonna be great.
I'm not going by myself. I'm meeting my friend at the airport
It's gonna be
in
great.
Cabo. But yeah, I don't know.
You're getting on a plane. You're landing in Cabo.
It was interesting.
It's gonna be great
to witness the resistance that came up within me and the remnants of it that's still there, because I'm still kind of like, yeah, I'm going to Cabo.
I know, you gotta lean in, girl.
Yes.
I'm peer pressuring you now to lean in, because like you're gonna be there and then you're gonna be gone. Like you're gonna get there and it's gonna fly by, and you're gonna be like, why wasn't I more excited? And like, you know what I mean? So just lean in.
It feels good to know that me and my friend are gonna reconnect. We both like have the same intentions of like chillaxing, like the whole time.
I want to say what she said.
Yeah.
Is that not okay?
Yeah. Well, it's fine.
Hopefully she doesn't
We didn't
hate
give her
us.
last name, so.
Yeah, that's right. So I was, so I've been trying to ease Jenilee's stresses, because that's what I do, right? I'm just like, how do I fix it?
Good.
Let me
He's
fix
good at
this, right? But I think it also eases my stress too. So I just been looking up at like FAQs, like looking at YouTube videos of people who've gone to the resort before, 'cause it's like one of those all-inclusive resorts, like, you know what I mean? Just like checking up on it. Oh, if you did want to go somewhere, like where would like a nice place to go that you two girls, you know, could feel safe, you know? And so I was like sending it to Alana and Jenilee in a group text, and she was like, she responded back pretty much just saying like, all I plan on bringing is my bathing suit and my vibrator. And I was like, okay, so what you really mean is like, stop sending you adventures and instead send you a YouTube video of like how to masturbate in a hotel room with your friend. Right? Like, not with your friend, but you know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
when you're sharing a hotel room
exactly.
with your
I mean, I think they get.
It's,
but
it's a two-bed situation. Just to be
it's
clear,
gonna be great.
Yes. Yeah.
I just think it's just like, I have my time, you have your time. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Jenilee thinks that she's not gonna masturbate at all while she's there. And I'm flattered.
So you know what it is that I, in order to ease my anxiety about going at all, I'm thinking of it as a short trip. And it is a short trip. I mean, it's less than a week.
5
days. So here I go. I'm going to justify
5 nights, 6 days.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you know, we'll see how I'm feeling. I mean, once I relax and I'm not so anxious about going, then I'm sure that the moment will arise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I just feel like, you know, it's like 5 days. But you're going to be like having margaritas and like, you know, you're going to like be indulging.
Right.
You know, and like orgasms are a form of indulgement.
They certainly are.
So I feel like, you know, so the icing on the cake here is that the other day, Jenilee had ordered gifts. Oh, can I not say this? Because it's not going to be it's not going to be her baby shower yet. She might hear what the gift is.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I don't think she's listening.
Yeah. And
whatever. If she is, sorry, Nick. So the other day I opened up a package, because whenever I order something online, I just always put it in your name. I don't know why. It's just something I do. It's weird. it's a weird thing I do. And so I open it up, and the first thing I pull out is this like little mini handheld vibrator. And it's actually like a massager for like women's
lactating
or just
women.
anybody who's like lactating, right? I want to say breastfeeding, but maybe that's not appropriate. Like maybe that's actually not the right language.
Yeah, I mean, you can go
breastfeeding or lactating,
right? So you know,
because you might not be like feeding. Like what if you know what I mean? Like I think that's
fine. A close
fine.
friend is having her first baby and she wants to breastfeed, and most people know that I had quite the ride in my breastfeeding journey, and so I'm trying to gift her the things that supported me in success. And so this little vibrator is really for making sure that the milk, it's like
The
a breast.
ducts.
It's a breast massager. It's so that the milk can find its way out of the nipple and not get clogged.
Right.
And so it's
But
actually
it's pretty much
amazing,
a vibrator.
and it is multi-use. I did discover this.
She said I did discover that.
But I'll have to put that in a note for Nick. But I think it's something that
No. This has multiple uses. I feel like you don't need to explain anything
Post-it,
more.
Yeah,
I feel like she already knows.
Mini Post-it.
So whatever. So I pull it out and I go, oh, okay. Like I guess Jenilee needs something for Cabo. And then I've realized that there was other things in there and that was not what that was for. But it was funny because it did take me like by surprise at first. I was like, oh, okay. Hey there. Maybe I was supposed to open this. But
Maybe she's warming up to the trip.
yeah, maybe,
I'm getting there.
But yeah, so that was pretty funny. But it's going to be a fun time. I'm nervous about having Antler full time, but I'm going to be fine. I have support. I have support
Yeah.
and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my job is going to know, like, I feel very fine and okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just feel more just like,
It's not
could have to
something
wake up and go to bed on time. And
it's not something we could have really done if we weren't in New York, honestly.
No way.
And so that's another
reason.
just another realization about being here and what it opens up for us.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
I picked the questions today because normally you do, but you were reading a book to Antler. And we're actually recording like on our stereotypical day, which I think has actually only happened once.
Which is huge.
But it's fine.
Do you want to share where your glue was?
Well, actually, one of the questions is related to glue.
Oh, okay.
But I'm happy to share before the question.
Okay.
So this week, the best way I could explain it is that I had my man period.
He did.
And like, not to be stereotypical, but I did not transition till I was 21. I got my period when I was 13. I mean, I didn't have nearly as much time as you have had your menstruation, but I have had it. I think I had like undiagnosed PMDD, which is like severe like mood swings and depression at the time. My mom has that, or had that, I guess. And I just feel like I legit, like, I was just like literally all the stereotypical stuff. I hated all the clothes I was wearing. I tried on like 4 different outfits before we went to like anywhere for like 2 days. You want to have sex? And I was just like, I don't feel good. I don't want to. Like, I was just so in my feelings. Then we had sex, and then I had like all these feelings that just came pouring out of me like a fountain of like emotion. And I don't know, I just felt moody. I wanted ice cream and chocolate. Like, again, like all those just like super stereotypical, feelings and things that come up like when your body's going through this cycle. I do not have a uterus. I have nothing that's shedding. Like, you know what I mean? But man, I definitely had some feelings. So I just kept explaining it to her because that's pretty much how it felt. It didn't last it lasted like 2 or 3 days.
To be fair, you had all the feelings after the sex on the same day as the Venus cazimi.
Oh, I did.
The Venus star point.
Oh, that's right. That was on Sunday.
I didn't bring it up in the moment. I was giving you your space, but
yeah, I probably would have got annoyed if you said it in the moment.
I did take note of it though, and
Clearly.
it just felt like this like heart-centered breakthrough moment for us, didn't it?
Yeah, it
and
did.
that's what the Venus star point, like the Venus cazimi, basically Venus. The planet.
Cazimi. That's a funny word.
I don't know if I even say it right, to be honest.
Cazimi.
Hopefully I do. But I didn't look up the pronunciation. I probably should have. But Venus, the planet of romance, relationships, what you value. It was exact with the sun in Leo. So they both were in Leo, and they both were at the same degree point, and like that's like a rarity. And so anything that goes behind the sun like comes to light. And so any especially with Leo, rules the heart, so, and your passions. And so I just feel like we had this moment where like we had clarity about what our love needed clarity about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, yeah, it was.
I mean, like, for context, like, just what I was just sharing about pretty much like how much my like pleasures have changed, and how weird it is that they've changed and how uncomfortable it is. And, just like how do I empower myself? How do I actually like step into all of the pleasure so that I can have the most pleasure possible? And how do I voice to myself and to Jenilee like what I really want? Because I don't really know. That's the other thing too, is like I don't really know exactly what I want. And so it's more complicated, right? Because it's like not that you're pressuring me, but like you want to know what I want, but I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want. And that can be really bad because then I'm just telling you all the things I don't want or like that I didn't like, right? And then it's like you're like, it's like, oh great, well thanks for not telling me one good thing. You know what I mean? Like, which isn't the intention. So, and I feel like more of that will come up in the questions of just like what, but I mean, it's complicated as a trans. I think it's complicated as any person.
Yeah.
But I think being trans just is this extra layer that's like a ganache. It's just like thick. It's not easy to like wipe off. It's just like it's embedded into that cake. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like where also all those emotions were coming from. So maybe it was the stars, maybe it was my emotional cycle, who knows, but I was in it.
It was the perfect storm.
Perfect storm of.
It was an opening.
I hated it. I hated that storm.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it had a good ending, right?
Yeah.
Like I think like at the end of every story, you're like, oh, I'm so grateful.
Right,
like my
the
house is still
rainbow
here, and
comes
yeah.
and, yeah.
But man, I hated it.
Yeah.
It was like, ugh, terrible.
Yeah.
But it's over. I'm happy about that.
Right, and we have deeper love.
Yes.
As the reward. Right?
Yes, exactly.
And deeper clarity about how to move forward.
Yeah. You should do the glue question because I feel like that question is kind of. Oh, okay. So what was my glue? Duh.
Yeah.
That's where I got on this whole thing. Sorry, my bad. I don't know. I guess like my glue would be being able to name to you that I was feeling like some kind of way. And like the extensive and like having to remind you that I was feeling some kind of way, and like then you tried to make like a joke about it the next day, and then I was like, I don't think that's a funny joke because I'm still feeling it, and you know what I mean, like and so just like recognizing that like I'm still not over that, you know what I mean, so it's still feeling like I don't.
There's a rawness.
Yeah, like that's not funny. You know what I mean? It wasn't like intense or anything, but it was something, so I think I think just being able to name where I actually was at, even if I didn't know exactly, even if I couldn't like drop a pin, but I knew that I was like what town I was in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm in Emotion Town. I don't really know exactly which street I'm on, but this is where I am. So like, don't fuck with me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like knowing when we can't see it clearly is so powerful, don't you think? Like,
yeah.
Like when we are in that emotionville, because like there is.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's powerful, but it doesn't feel powerful.
Right. Yes.
Right. Like, yes, it's powerful. Yes, it's helpful, but it doesn't feel like I'm giving you much because it doesn't feel like I actually know what's going on. And most times that I'm reporting to you how I'm feeling, it's in a state of that feeling. So it's like,
okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just had a visual of you like as like one of those like weather guys, like I'm here in Emotionville reporting to you. Like, because you said like reporting.
Right. In the middle of a storm.
Right. I'm here.
I can't read the street sign, but here I am.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it's different, like, at least personally, I feel like it's different with like this testosterone in me, and that being my dominant hormone of like, it's not, you know, before I would just cry or get really angry. Now I just am very confused. I'm just like, what is happening? And it's harder for me to put things together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh, this is what's happening. And I feel like when estrogen was more dominant, it was like so clear this is what was happening. And then I would dive into the emotion of that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel more like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hormones are really something. I've been like tracking my cycle really closely on that app, that like Stardust app, and I remember when I was like, oh, like I felt the testosterone like
running,
pumping through me, you know, because it like tells you when like you're like.
Can I say what you said to me?
Sure.
You were like, I want to fuck you, and I was like, no, 'cause, like we were totally role reversed. I was like, no, I'm not interested. Like, regardless of what, like, most people think, like, oh, there's penetration or whatever. But just, like, in general, it was just, like, I was just, like, you were like, come on. I was just like, I'm not interested. I don't. No. We didn't.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was very funny.
Yeah, testosterone was not the best look for me.
It was a role reversal.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was cool to have the awareness that like, oh yeah, like that's what I'm feeling, like that's what that's what I'm under the influence of, like that's what it felt like. So
high on that good old tea. So what was your glue?
So my glue was, I met a new friend here on Long Island, and we connect on this like spiritual level that I don't feel like I really connect with too many people here. And not even just spiritual, but like energy, like we can talk energy, and like that
catching vibes.
That feels rare for me. And we went on a double date with her and her husband. And it was a brunch date, and it was really fun. And we had both of our kids love each other and hang out. And like,
her kid is so cute and touchy.
Yeah. Well, like, so you, like, that energy reminds me of you, because like you both have like Cancer stelliums in your chart. So you have
he
like
just
that
wants to
gooey,
hold Antler's hand.
Like Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Cancer.
Antler is like not that type of way, but with him he is.
Yes.
He's just like,
it's
they were like
good.
holding hands, and I was like, I looked at you, I was like, oh my god,
It's a cute emergency. It really is. Oh my gosh. So it was just nice, like, to have that, like, to find a friend here, like I wasn't really expecting, and then also be able to like bring my family into it, and like have, you know, like just having that Sunday with you all was really fun for me. Like I was really present. I don't think I like was on Instagram at all. Like I was just very like present, because she and I were just like constantly chatting and connecting. And so
that was fun.
it just think my glue was meeting an energy friend and getting
friendship.
Yeah, getting to know her family better, and like getting to introduce you and Antler. Well, no, Antler already knew, but yeah.
I had a good time too.
Nice.
I feel like there was I had a tequila sunrise.
Yeah, he did.
That was good. Your mimosa was generally got a mimosa that was terrible.
Yeah, no, I took like one sip and I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah, no. But then we had mimosas back at the house, and that was good.
Those were on point.
Yeah, that was
the
good.
mango juice.
I love it. That's how. That's why I like a tequila sunrise, because it's made with tequila and orange juice and like something else. Cranberry juice. I don't know. It's like mixes of juices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it was good.
Yeah.
So read the glue question. Okay. I think it's the second one.
All right. So I'm new with the mic in the front.
You're great.
I'm hopefully
You're gonna
not
do
going to
good.
knock anything down right now, and I'm going to be able to return to the mic
You can unplug that sucker
Okay.
because you just didn't have that much battery. But I think you're fine. What's your levels look like now? Go over.
Yes.
Go. Okay. There. All right. Yeah. There you go. Whatever works.
I made it work.
You made it work. You're good.
Okay. So, question number 1.
Well, no, I think it's number 2 is the glue question. I
Okay.
kind of want to start there.
Question number 2.
Like the video, comment, subscribe. Tell us what's your glue for today, this week. We want to know. What's your glue?
Are you sure it's number 2? Can you find it for me? I don't see.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Just start
Okay,
wherever.
Start at the top.
Sure.
Okay.
Clearly, I
Question-
don't know what I'm saying.
Question number 1. I am almost 40. Always have been more tomboy / stud.
Stud.
Short hair, men's clothing, etc. Married to my wife for 16 years. Congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
We have 5 kids. Congratulations.
Oh,
and
wow.
I bow to you. I did carry the last 4 because of my complications my wife had and could not carry. The past 2 years, I have been very serious about transitioning FTM. Recently, I began to discuss this with her. She is very against the idea, worried about the kids, but I think it is more her worried about what people will think. She also says she's attracted to women, not men, yet I don't necessarily resemble a woman. What can I do to help her understand that I will still be me? I do not want to lose her, but I need to be able to be my authentic self.
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost,
It's a brave question.
yes, that's, yeah,
Thank you for trusting us with
that one, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I think just starting with the authentic self part. I mean, if there's anything that I've known from most of the trans people I know before they started socially transitioning or medically transitioning is their confidence in themselves and like their ability to be themselves. And that's me too. Like, and you know, I can show up in a relationship so much more myself authentically now than I ever could before. And I think so many other people feel that way too. And I think that's why you do hear about so many people who are honestly who break up when when one of the people transition, because I think that you finally get an opportunity to be yourself, and you know that can jive well or not well with another individual. You know what I mean? And so there's like a growth that both people need to go through. But the ones that stick together are like together. Like
Glued together.
glued together. That's like you are not, doesn't matter how hard you pull, like it's there. And that's because both people put the time and effort and love in. And we have a couple that we actually want to have on the podcast. We'd love to have guests eventually. That one is a lesbian, identifies as a lesbian, and the other one is a transgender man. And they are tight and in love, and you know what I mean? So it's very much possible to be yourself in a relationship and have the other individual be allowed to be themselves too. You know what I mean? And show up in this really beautiful way. So I don't know, that piece about just being authentic is like, imagine how you can show up in this relationship if you're able to be your true self, right? Like if transition is for you, and maybe there's even ways to like begin doing that that's not medically transitioning. It just sounds like that's a little bit of what your wife is afraid of. Is like you're gonna wake up one day and be a man, like in the physical secondary male characteristics way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and there won't be like a warning, and it'll just
Yeah.
happen, and like
Right.
yeah, like that makes you want to grasp for control, and you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. and like it's gradual, but it does happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I try to tell people this a lot. I have a
Mhm.
friend even that I've told this, and they recently messaged me and were like, one day, you said that one day I would wake up and just be a man. And it happened. And, you know, I say be a man. I hope
Yeah.
I hope everyone knows what I mean by that. It's like you wake up one day, if you decide to take testosterone, like you will, no matter how low of a dose you take, like you will one day wake up and people will read you as male. Now, you might not identify as male, right? Like, but many other people who don't live in our world where there's fluidity in gender expression are going to read you as male.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And, you know, I get the fear, but I also like, I think that if you can be who you really are, that's what's the sexy part. You know, that's the sexy part. That's the part that's attractive.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because falling in love and being with someone who's a half of who they really are,
Yeah.
it's not you're not really getting them. You're getting this half-baked version.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just not as good.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think being with someone who is brave enough to want to take action on becoming their authentic self, like being with a trans person, is this invitation for you to sort of take your own transition into more of who you really are. And I think that is scary, and that can make you want to push away or try to resist that shift or that change. And, you know, I think holding tightly to any specific identity without taking a look at why you're holding tightly to it can be problematic, right? Because I've met countless couples that have struggled with the identity issue of being a lesbian and trying to embrace their partner in transition and not knowing what that's going to look like, and trying to take the steps forward in a state of fear because you're holding really tightly to that identity. I'll say for myself, like, the eyes don't change. Like, that's what has kept me just really grounded in my connection with you. And, just anyone that transitions, it's like the eyes don't change, and so, like, if you can remind yourself of that and remind yourself to continue to look there, right? There might be other physical changes, but, like, I've always said that I love your lesbian soul because that lesbian soul never changes. Like, that has never gone away. His voice is deepened. He's got the best beard ever, and he's got a lot of body hair to spare. And there's all of these physical changes, but his soul is still a lesbian. And that, like, you can't change that. Like, that's who he is at the core. Like, that's
right.
He has such a foundation there. I love when he tells me stories about his lesbian days. I didn't actually know him then, but just that it's clear that's
years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can share a little bit about it, like, and, like, down to the music that he still loves, and like, just like, it's intertwined. Like, lesbian culture is intertwined in our relationship and in our life. And
well, it's like if we're not around other trans people, then I want to be around lesbians.
Yeah, because
that's kind of the hierarchy of, like, who I would, like, you know what I mean, like, would want to chill with,
Yeah, and because it's comfort.
Yeah.
It's who you were built on on
Mm-hmm.
a foundational level.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have come to terms with your transness
No,
without coming to
no. I
terms with
mean,
your lesbian identity
yeah, well,
initially.
yeah, it's the safe place to explore your gender expression
Mm-hmm.
is in that. I mean, I think for both sides, for, you know,
Yeah.
gay and lesbian,
Mm-hmm.
people like, you know, you can explore your gender expression through that sexuality
Mm-hmm.
as like a cover in a
Mm-hmm.
way, um, and I always say that like I was just like so gay that I turned into a man. Like I was such a butch lesbian that I just poof, I transitioned. You know what I mean? Like that like I used to, that's what I used to say. I used to be like, "Oh, like I'm just, you know, oh, you think you're gay. Well, I'm so gay I turned into a man." That's
Yeah.
how fucking gay I am. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that used to just be like a joke,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so I think that, and I think when you talk about this fear of like your kids and other people, like that's a very valid fear.
Mm-hmm.
Things shift, things change, but things also continue to go on,
Mm-hmm.
and life continues on, and kids understand, and
Mm-hmm.
if they don't understand, then you have conversation after conversation. I don't know how old
Yeah,
these kids
yeah.
are, but
There's a lot of hard conversations that are being activated or invited. You're being invited into them with this proclamation or this
mm-hmm,
wanting to pursue this path, and I think that it's normal to have your partner react, and I think that at the end of the day, like we're sharing our experience, and it's also perfectly okay to have for your partner to have and for you to
mm-hmm,
have your very own unique experience
right,
and make you what you want out of it, like it's not like we're not trying to say like, oh yeah, like go for it and like you both will like find a deeper love and
right,
have
yeah, that's a
better
good point,
sex
yeah,
or anything like
mm-hmm,
that, but we're saying that's possible because we're
mm-hmm,
an embodiment of that. We're like proof that happened for us.
mm-hmm,
And we know other couples it's happened for, but
mm-hmm,
like he said, we do know other couples that decided, yeah, you know what, like we do want to go our separate ways and whatever.
mm-hmm,
So I think it's important to try to lean in and just start having the hard conversations and get the support and the resource. Couples therapy, absolutely.
mm-hmm.
Energy healing, like all of that sort of things are highly recommended from
Support for
us.
both people,
Yeah.
separate support
Mm-hmm.
for both people.
Yeah.
Like your partner, your wife
Mm-hmm.
having people to talk to is
Mm-hmm.
really important.
Yeah.
And places where she doesn't feel a pressure to just like go along with what you're doing, where she feels like she can actually have conversation with people and
Mm-hmm.
hear the struggles that other partners
Mm-hmm.
have had, because clearly you're in a struggle moment,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling validity in that, and
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I mean, just so important. But all of those fears of like other people,
Mm-hmm.
like that all passes. Like there's fears, I mean, like all that stuff happens,
Mm-hmm.
care what other people think, and then they get over it, or you end up, like all of those things, not
Yeah.
that they don't matter, but
Mm-hmm.
the transition occurs
Mm-hmm.
socially, and things
Mm-hmm.
either work out with individuals or they don't, and you move on, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
hopefully you're strong enough bond with your kids, and that can be difficult, but it can also
Yeah.
progress to something positive. And also, just like lastly, I'll share is that I just think you can go slow. I mean, I don't know how much pain you're in personally, but like you can go slow. Like you can just start with like pronouns, start with the name, start with, if you want to start with binding. I know people who get top surgery if they feel they want top surgery before they even start hormones, and then they don't even need hormones. They're like, I'm good. Like I'm not even going to start hormones, right? Like they're just different things. I know couples that have started where one person said I'm a lesbian, and then the person transitions and they're like, oh, like I never thought I could like
Mm-hmm.
a beard. I never thought I could like you looking
Mm-hmm.
more masculine,
Mm-hmm.
and I do, right? And it's like no, it doesn't mean that maybe they are now straight or bisexual or
Right.
pansexual. It's just like, like you fall in love with the person and then the person changes a little bit and you're just like, oh, like it's not that bad. Like I can get behind that, So I think there's just so much room for
Yeah.
change to happen and things still be okay. And
Right.
also like you were saying, like it's so unique to each couple. You have to
Yeah.
make sure you have kids, right?
Yeah, and each
Like,
family, right? And, because I have heard more often than not that kids are actually the most adaptable to these situations or these changes than even adults are. And so, taking that as some sort of peace of mind, but also your kids best and how to actually navigate that. And, and your kids, our kids, like are going to be the future,
yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and the way that we're, choosing to have these hard conversations with them, like they're going to take our example and be able to really bring that into this future. So, yeah, I think,
Yeah, good luck.
yeah. Yeah.
Sending you love.
Yes. So much love. And
If you are like a couple who's listening who've gone through something like that, like you should definitely leave a comment.
yeah, please.
And
Yeah.
maybe this
Support each other in the
individual,
comments. I think that's such a good idea.
yeah, maybe give some advice, give some tips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And try to build community.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Thank you. So our second question says, hey, I identify as male, he, him pronouns, transgender FTM. I'm having problems with not knowing who I'm attracted to, female, male, non-binary, etc. Do you have any advice on this type of subject?
Does it matter? I guess that would be my first question to this person to ask themselves. Like, does it matter who you're attracted to? Does it matter if you're attracted to men or women or trans people or non-binary people? And does it matter if it changes? Does it matter if you dance at the club with this guy and then you dance with the club with this girl and then, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just like my first question is like,
yeah, it's a great question.
does it matter? And maybe it does matter. Maybe it's like you feel a strong sense of wanting to understand your sexual identity. And if that's the case, then I think it's just like, explore, experiment. Maybe you find that you're attracted to, men, but then maybe you don't want to have a relationship with men. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that we're all conditioned to like feel the need to check a box, right? And
you want to fit in. Like you want to be able to say like
identity.
I'm gay or
right. Yeah, there's like a pressure to know. And I think that at the end of the day, like we can remind ourselves that like we get to take our time, we get to experiment, we get to figure it out in our own time, and it can look different from somebody else's. And on the other spectrum, like for me personally, like it's just skin. Like it's all just skin, and like it's like the soul, like the heart inside is like what I'm really attracted to. And this,
I thought it was my beard.
Well, I do like that. And I think that if you asked me before it was there, if I was going to like it, I would have been like, well, I like what you have now. Like it's, it all evolved.
Yeah, I mean, you mourned my chest when I got top surgery.
I did.
Like you were like,
I
I'm going to feel,
I'm
going to miss, even though it's not like you saw them much or it was like a rare occasion, that I'd like take my binder off, but it's not like,
Yeah, no. And yeah, I did mourn them. I don't think I've ever actually talked about it to anyone. It wasn't something that I thought was going to happen, or I thought it
Mhm.
was going to feel that way, because I was so focused on being so excited for you to be like liberated in your body and
Mhm.
like have your outsides match your insides, and
Mhm.
and so I got on board really quickly. But I remember it was like the night before, or like maybe like the week before, I just like
Mhm.
started to feel like some kind of way about like, wow, like, like I'll never have this option again,
Right. Right.
but it's not something I really think about anymore, because,
Mhm.
so yeah, just trying to try that on, that mentality that like skin is skin, and like
Mm.
you might be that type of person that is attracted to more of the soul essence, or the heart of the person, or the
Mhm.
mind of the person,
Yeah, or
you
maybe
know.
you just like the D.
Yeah, that's possible too. It's totally possible.
Right.
Everyone's different. Yeah,
Everyone's
you've got
different.
to lean into yourself and
You
let
don't know.
yourself claim what you need to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta ask yourself those questions.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, don't give yourself a timeline.
No
No.
timeline.
I mean, that's why I always liked queer. I just feel like queer is like this like huge umbrella. It's like it could literally mean anything.
I know. When I
I'm
finally
queer.
started identifying as queer, I was like, oh, it feels so
Yeah.
good to be here.
I don't have
Feels
to
so good to be in
explain
this
anything.
like spacious
Right.
umbrella, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, I'm just queer. People are like, oh, I like sometimes when people tell me they're queer, I find myself being like, I don't really know what that means, even though I identify it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then I just think, okay, well, they like whoever they're with at that time.
Mm-hmm.
If they're like this person,
Yeah.
then that's their queerness. If they like that person, all right, still queer. Up, queer again. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's there's such a
It's just a fluid. It's
fluidity.
just, yeah. Like if someone says they're queer, I'm like, I have no more answers than I did before when you said you weren't queer.
But
And, you know?
but queer has like made like remodeled itself,
Oh,
like
yeah,
during our
totally.
like time of like
Yeah.
our own sexual exploration of
Right.
identity. I used to work with LGBTQ plus youth, and of course, like teenagers are constantly like trying to identify and figure themselves out on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so, I'd see them every day, and like, one day one person was identifying one way and the next day it was different. And so, of course, like I started questioning myself.
Right.
And like and they would always bring in like new pronouns to try, and
Right.
like it was great. It was like so fun. And I remember finally I was like, I'm androsexual. Do you remember this?
Yeah, maybe.
Androsexual. I'm attracted to masculine energy. And I was like so
Oh,
in
yeah.
it.
Okay. That's
But-
how I think about it.
But I've gotten to the point where I'm also attracted to feminine energy. Like, so like, it's like, that's why queer is just more like, it just feels like it fits better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this question. Thank you for
Yeah,
asking.
you have a lesbian soul too, Jenilee.
Yeah.
You just don't, it's just a different, it's not like a butchy
Yeah. No, it's
lesbian
like a
soul.
lipstick
You've got a
lesbian
lipstick
soul.
lesbian
Yeah.
soul. Exactly. With a little bit of like gay man. Because you loved Queer as Folk.
True.
And I was like,
True.
as like a lesbian, I was like, I'm not watching Queer as
The
Folk.
original Queer as Folk,
Yeah,
to be
I was
clear.
like,
Yeah.
no. There's no women in that show.
True. Okay. Next
Next
question.
up, yes.
So, I am a male to female trans woman of many years. I am helping my partner and being supportive and am breastfeeding our child with a doctor support, but people in our family thinks it isn't right, but I pass so well the public just thinks it's gross I breastfeed in public. What do you think? Thank you. I say, fuck what people think about breastfeeding in public.
You gotta say it like this. Fuck what people think.
Fuck what people think.
No, see, you said it really low again. You gotta say, fuck what people think.
Fuck what people think about breastfeeding in public.
There you go.
Period.
Get it.
Regardless of your
Get 'em.
identity, regardless of how long you're breastfeeding,
They can
how
go
old your
suck a
child
teat.
is. Literally. Yeah. Like I definitely will stand on a soapbox about breastfeeding in public and feeding your child. I don't know what it's like to have your experience as a trans woman.
I mean, that's
So-
pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. Like,
It's badass.
yeah,
It's
bodies
really
are
cool.
bodies are really magical. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, you know, I mean, I don't know anything about it, so I know that I've heard of trans women breastfeeding, but I don't know about anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
like,
It's incredible.
It's incredible,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, you got a doctor, that makes me feel great because it's like awesome. Like at the end of the day, it's the health of the baby that's like the most important. So
Right.
like, you
Right.
know,
And I think
like that's so awesome.
yeah, I think the biggest thing to me about breastfeeding in public or breastfeeding anywhere really is like, what do you need to feel safe and relaxed? Because like I truly believe that it's going to be an easier experience for you and the baby when you can truly relax. And so, you know, I never liked those like, you know, little breastfeeding, little
Pods.
porter potty things that
The
they
pods
set
like
up.
at the
Like it always felt very sterile.
the airport.
And like, yeah.
I mean, some people might like them though.
which is fine.
Some people might be like, I don't want to breastfeed
which
in
is
public.
fine. Yeah. But you know, wherever you're going to feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
And like, because that's, you know, how the magic of breastfeeding happens. It's like you and the baby are connected and you're relaxed and, you know, in my opinion. So,
And yeah,
that's
like,
what I would say is like, is it to a point where being in public or being around these people that don't approve, is it affecting your mental health? Is it affecting your
Right.
ability to concentrate on just connecting with baby?
Right.
Those are questions I would ask yourself.
Right. And like, what do they know about it? You know what I mean? Like, if you're open to it and they have questions, answer their questions. And if they still have like bias or whatever, like, you know, judgment, then that's on them. Like,
I'm not
you know?
available to receive
Yeah.
those kinds of comments about my breastfeeding.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know?
Like, would they say they think they don't approve?
I think it's not right.
It's not right.
Yeah.
What's not right is to like not care for your child. So if you're caring for your child, then that's the right
it's not
thing
right
to do.
give unsolicited opinions, you know?
Right, exactly. I love that one. I love that. Like I said, they can go suck on a teat.
Yes.
A trans woman's teat. Just to really,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Or a trans man's teat. That might be confusing for them too.
Yeah. Either way.
Either way.
It's not your problem.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Well, that was it, babe. We've hit time.
Okay.
These episodes are rolling through.
Yes, they are. And we love the questions. We really
Yes.
appreciate you
Yes.
taking the time. And like, yeah, it just feels amazing to like be able to create a container for these questions. Like, 'cause they're just very important. And
Yes. They're deep.
Yes.
They're deep.
Yes. And
Like,
I love a deep question.
yeah, Jenny loves this shit. Yeah, she loves it. I don't not like it. I also love it. But I also like a little bit of the
fun banter.
The fun, you know, surfacey stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the suck a teat stuff. You know? So you can ask those questions too. You know. And I like the scandalous ones. You know? I like a little scandal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I can get down with it.
so if you got scandalous questions, you can go to the description box and anonymously send them through our Slido URL below, or you can email us at gluedtogetherpodcast@gmail.com. That's where a bunch of these actually came through.
Yeah. Yes.
I finally, like, people were sending them, and I honestly, the last 2 weeks, I think we forgot to put them into our like question bank, but they're in there now.
Yes.
So you can send them along. Yeah, just really excited to be continuing on. Thanks for joining the fam here. I feel like we're really building a fam.
Yeah, we want to see some of the juiciness that is these questions like in the comments of the video.
Oh,
that would be
yeah.
so cool.
That would be nice. Yeah, and supporting each other in the video, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the point of this podcast again is like the imperfection. Like I'll just restate like why we named it Glued Together was not because like we're stuck together, but more just because like life is messy and shit breaks
and you need glue.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like we don't have all the answers. This is just all like solicited advice that
This
could be
is-
totally wrong for you.
Yeah, this is just our glue.
Yeah, or it could be
And
totally
it's an
right.
example of what glue can look like, but it's not
Yeah.
all the glue. There's plenty of different types of glue.
Are you gonna keep saying glue?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll catch you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.
Bye.